We're going to move on to item LC, ordinance number 16-19, Madam Clerk.
For first reading, to grant a special use permit to Lundy Holdings LLC and C&T Land LLC to allow for an office and restaurant development located at 2500 Boulevard to operate with fewer parking spaces than the city code specifies.
Move to approve.
Second. This ordinance tonight is a request for a special use permit for 2500 Boulevard. I guess there's not enough office space that is required for an office and restaurant. Parking space. To comment, well, there's fewer than what there is a requirement. I'm struggling. It's been a long day. I'm sorry.
You want me to take it?
Well, let me just. It's a request for a special use permit to allow them to have lesser parking spaces than is required. Mr. City Manager, can you please take it? Please take it.
You got it right. This is a project I think many are familiar with. It's a highly visible project on Boulevard that has gone through a reiteration of changes and amendments, which is why this issue is before the council tonight. It's actually a project that previously had received approved site plan and building permit, but the project changed significantly. You know where I'm at, right? This is where the car business is now, and this is the building that's under construction now. But basically, what happened is that what the owners intended for the project changed a number of times, both in the occupancy of the first building and the rest of the development of the project. And it reached a point where the second building that they began to build actually differed so much from the approved site plan that we had instructed the owner that they'd have to submit a new site plan and have that go through the process. Staff has the ability, once the site plan is approved, to make minor changes, but we just reached a point where there were so many different amendments and changes from the approved plan to what's been constructed that we felt compelled to tell the owner to go back through the process and get a new site plan approved. So when they began that process, unfortunately, we determined that they had great difficulty and frankly, in the situation they're in, could not meet the minimum parking requirements for the structure that the building and the use that they presently plan, the building that's under construction. So before the project can proceed and receive an approved site plan, they now are before you to ask initially for a variance on the number of parking spaces for the property, so that the staff can consider their new site plan, which then they'll get the site plan approved and then have a compliant project. So it's basically what it boils down to is you see the building that's presently constructed, and there's some construction activity going on there. The plan is it's a two-story building. The first floor will have a restaurant. The second floor will have an insurance business, which is pertinent as it relates to the number of parking spaces. As shown on this map, the required number is 62. I think the count is that's 7 fewer than what's stipulated under the code, right, Mr. Davis?
The required is 69, they're going to have 62, right. So there's 7 short.
Right. So what's shown on this diagram is 62, which is 7 short from which is the specifics that the variance would grant them. And we think two things are pertinent in this regard, in that the restaurant and current plans for the restaurant and the insurance office, they'll actually operate different times of the day. The insurance office will be operating during the day, the restaurant mostly at night. So they won't have need for all the parking spaces all at the same time. Also, as you can see, that the property is not exactly an ideal layout for parking. As we move to courthouse, as we said down here, this is actually parking in this area is part of the Lundy Wellness Program, because you have to walk all the way to so those are actually premium parking spaces back here. But the other issue for us, I think, would be typically the reason you're concerned about having adequate off-street parking for any commercial business is to make sure they have adequate parking to serve their business and their parking needs aren't spilling over onto their neighbors or onto the street. And in this particular case, this property is down there kind of all by itself, and so that won't be a concern either. If there is any, frankly, if there's any issues with the inadequate amount of parking, it'll exclusively affect the owners of the property and not any of their neighbors or anybody around it. So there's a couple other stipulations that we've made in the special use permit, but staff has no objections to the permit and actually, or to the variance. And as we said, granting the variance will actually allow them to frankly finally bring their project in compliance with the owners have worked well with the staff to get it to this point and rectify what few remaining issues we have. So if we grant this variance tonight, then the next step would be for them to get their site plan done, which will go through the process, but we're confident that'll be a routine thing with this variance. So I don't know that anything else Scott to add to that.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. And the planning commission has approved this.
They have recommended approval.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
having been on the planning commission, I know that it was not clear to us when we looked at it, so if I can point out to council, besides the lower parking deck and the parking that you're seeing on the darker left side of the picture there, that's in the rear of the building away from the boulevard, there's also parking and lighter parking on the right side, so there's actually parking close to the building on both sides. Right now, the car dealership has cars parked there, but it was explained that the car dealership will have to tighten up, and some of those spots will be available for the building, the second building, not just the car dealership. So that helped us to come to the conclusion that that might work.
Thank you, Mr. Curry.
Can I ask a question about that? Are those, Joe, are those parking spaces that they're currently utilizing, that the car dealer is currently utilizing, are they part of the car dealership property, or are they just being allowed to spill over?
I think it's the spillover, but I would.
I said Joe.
She did. We got That's all right.
I mean,
You know I don't.
Yeah, we're renting that parking lot to Mr. Green.
Not this Mr.
Not that Green.
Green.
But when we get our certificate of occupancy, we're required to give them proper notification to vacate that area.
so that's not really their property now,
No,
they're
they're just-
spilling over onto
They're
it?
just renting that.
So are those spaces in the count, in
Yes,
the
yes.
72, I mean, this
No, they're not.
62
Not-
count?
not big.
There's a total overall count.
Yeah, 62 is here. Correct.
The 62 is in the entire count.
So there's cars parked now where some of those 62 spaces are. Those cars will be moved for these 60.
Correct.
It's here, it's what's shown here, 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 here.
Right.
All that is,
It's not these spaces.
Nothing
up
north of there.
here, but this is this side, this is the car gate.
Right, but right now there's cars parked on that southern part in front of the new building that will have to be moved. Is what he's saying, correct?
Yes, but I guess I just feel compelled to say with the record, I didn't need anything the city record.
Okay.
That's there.
I was just
Who
trying
parks?
to figure out the count, that was what I was trying to do. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tyler. Now I'll open it up to the public. Does anybody in the public tonight want to address city council on this? Seeing none, any discussion on council members?
Go ahead. I think it's great to see new construction on the boulevard.
I
think also what that shows is for people that say that property values in Colonial Heights are not what they should be, the rather creative and innovative way we have here of utilizing this particular parcel of land so that this parking is located not in what most people would consider a convenient area, indicates just how important it is to try to squeeze what we can on available properties we have. Especially Mr. Lundy is going to be able to go downstairs and eat at will. You will need to march up and down the hill a little bit. Keep those abdominals in shape, I think. It's also important, I think, that the manager mentioned that parking at its peak use for each business is going to be at a different time of day. And since we're only talking about 7 spaces, I can well understand why the planning commission decided the way it did.
No further comment?
I can throw one more in. I just feel compelled to say this demonstrates the city has had the ability to be flexible. And you have an individual situation you bring forward, planning commission, staff, council. We have a willing owner who made the effort, and we can work out problems like this pretty easily. And, I'm pleased the way it is, and I think the other part is if you had some appreciation where we were on this project compliance-wise 6 months ago and the progress we've made, it's a really good example. Two motivated local business people and the staff trying to work together and get the support we need from the council and planning commission. We get a lot of talk about not working together. Make sure live and breathe an example if we do it all the time.
I would just add to what the manager was saying is that there was truly an extraordinary amount of effort made to bring this project before you tonight. I do commend Mr. Lundy and Mr. Tyler on their flexibility and their listening to the staff, and I thank Scott for his work on this too, because really this what you see before you tonight is only the result of numerous meetings on this topic. It's a lot of legwork to achieve this, and I think parties should be commended.
A lot of behind-the-scenes work. Thank you, Dr. Davis, Mr. City Manager, Mr. City Attorney. And I look forward to getting the tour of that building. It looks really great. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Grenier?
Yes.
Mr. Green?
Yes.
Mrs. Love?
Yes.
Mr. Trowski?
Yes.
Mr. Wood?
Yes.
Mrs. Yates?
Yes.
Mayor Kachuba?
Yes. Moving on to item 10D, ordinance number 16-21, Madam Clerk.
For first reading, to vacate an approximate 0.174 acre parcel of undeveloped public right-of-way, which is located near the corner of MacArthur Avenue and Elko Avenue, and which is adjacent to property owned by Program Limited Partnership 1, parcel ID numbers 5400020000H, on its eastern boundary line and adjacent to property owned by Michael L. Wells, parcel ID number 540040E040, on its western boundary line.
Move to approve.
Second.
Mr. City Manager, we're vacating some property that's going to go to a resident in Tucurk.
Yes, this is, Mr. Mayor, this is an item we discussed previously. This is a procedural matter before you this evening to finalize a couple of issues, mainly focused on kind of final accommodations for the Kroger project. This map on the screen shows there's an extension of Elko Avenue that the Elko Avenue right-of-way is currently unopened, unpaved paper right-of-way that extended into and actually one time through the courthouse property. You may recall the council already took action to close the rest of Elko Avenue, and that was deeded over as part of the deals at Kroger. But we left behind this one stub of a right-of-way. Subsequently, Kroger determined they needed the half this right-of-way to construct their storm drain or sanitary storm line through there. And so under the law, we simply proposing to close this section of street. Property is basically split down the middle, and it goes to the adjacent property owners. And that would be on the eastern boundary would be Kroger, so Kroger gets half of it, and Michael Wells, the adjacent property owner to the west, gets the other half.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. Anybody from the public want to address council on this ordinance tonight? Seeing none. Anybody on council have any discussion or comments? Hearing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Grenier?
Yes.
Mr. Green?
Yes.
Mrs. Love? Yes. Mr. Petrowski?
Yes.
Mr. Wood?
Yes.
Ms. Yates? Yes. Mayor Kishuba?
Yes. Move on to item 10E, ordinance number 16-22. Madam Clerk, will you please read
For first reading to vacate as public right-of-way an approximate 0.056 acre parcel which fronts Temple Avenue on its northern boundary line and is bounded by property owned by Kroger Limited Partnership 1. Parcel ID number 540002000H on its eastern, southern, and western boundary lines. Such right-of-way being the former Temple Avenue entrance to the old courthouse parking lot.
Move to approve. You have a second?
Second.
Have anything to add, Mr. City Manager?
No, just as shown on the map in your packet, there's just a little stub of a piece of property that technically is part of the city-owned right-of-way. It's staff's. This is a little different from Kroger than necessarily requesting it as much as certainly our recommendation that all that property under the four corners needs to be owned and be their responsibility. Lingering responsibility attached to the city. It just so happens this little piece of property is still right away, so we're vacating it and go back to Kroger. Just become part of the project.
Thank you. Anybody from the public want to address council tonight on this? Seeing none, any council member comments or issues?
Mr. City Manager, this parcel was anticipated initially as going to Kroger, was it not?
It was.
I mean, this is just a matter that was anticipated that they would receive that parcel, and of course it has no use to us, and consequently it would be more of a burden than it would be a benefit.
That's correct.
Any further comments? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Grenier?
Yes.
Mr. Green?
Yes.
Mrs. Love?
Yes.
Mr. Petrowski?
Yes.
Mr. Wood?
Yes.
Ms. Yates?
Yes.
Mayor Kishuba?
Yes. Moving on to item 11, hearing of citizens generally on non-agenda items. Does anybody from the public want to address council tonight? Seeing none, we move on to item 12, consideration of uncontested minutes, ordinances, resolutions, and motions in accordance with the consent agenda. Madam Clerk, can you please read it?
A, ordinance number 16-4 for second reading to grant a non-exclusive franchise to Comcast of Connecticut, Georgia, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, New York, North Carolina, Virginia, Vermont, LLC, to operate a cable system in the city of Colonial Heights, Virginia, and to approve a cable franchise agreement. B, an ordinance number 16-20 for second reading to amend and reordain numerous sections of the Colonial Heights City Code by providing that the Director of Finance shall perform various duties that the city treasurer previously performed. C, an ordinance number 16-10 for second reading to amend the general fund budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2015 and ending June 30th, 2016 to transfer $100,000 from contingencies to comprehensive services to provide matching funds for supplemental funding requested by the Community Service Board for current and projected revenues. Expenditures. D, March 24, 2015, special meeting minutes. E, August 25, 2015, special meeting minutes. F, September 8, 2015, regular meeting minutes. G, November 10, 2015, regular meeting minutes. H, April 12, 2016, special meeting minutes. And I, April 12, 2016, regular meeting minutes.
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Grenier?
Yes.
Mr. Green?
Yes.
Mrs. Love?
Yes.
Mr. Petrowski?
Yes.
Mr. Mr. Wood?
Yes.
Mrs. Yates? Yes. Mayor Kachuba?
Yes. Moving on to item 13. Introduction and consideration of ordinances and resolutions. Madam Clerk, 13A, ordinance number 16-10-11.
For first reading to amend the general fund budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2015 and ending June 30th, 2016, to transfer $14,415 from reserve asset forfeiture, federal Commonwealth attorney to judicial to provide partial funding for replacement of case management software and the Commonwealth's attorney office.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
City Manager, any discussion?
Routine budget amendment is actually an item council has discussed previously a couple of years, I guess. This is kind of, we finally got this case management software in the Commonwealth's Attorney's Office squared away, and we're ready to acquire it. But the Commonwealth's attorney has agreed to partially funding the project from asset forfeiture funds. This action simply formally appropriates those funds so we can move forward with the project. Bill, is there anything else?
That covers it. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone in the city who's assisted with this. It's been needed for a long time, and it will greatly enhance the efficiency of our operations. Thank you.
Thank you. Any council member?
I just want to go on record and let everybody know I'm about to vote for something that's going to make my job a bit more difficult.
Well, I'm glad to see it. Well, we come to a head. So. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Pannier?
Yes.
Mr. Green?
Yes.
Mrs. Lutz?
Yes.
Mrs. Petrowski?
Yes.
Mr. Wood?
Yes.
Mrs. Yates? Yes. Mayor Kachuba?
Yes. Item 13B, resolution number 1620, authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Motorola Solutions Corporation for a new Motorola 800 megahertz public safety radio system. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
So, Mr. City Manager, we're finally going to see this radio system.
Well, I don't know. I just pondered the fact it seems to be a strategy on the Chiefs' part to bury this at the end when y'all weren't paying attention. We actually have, it's I don't know, it's a fairly significant issue, but we're down to the end, and of course, AG and Chip can jump in with any details, but basically, we're right to the very end, and get right to the chase. We're ready to proceed with the purchase, but we don't have a final number that we're prepared to talk about this evening. But from the vendor, Motorola standpoint, they've now put on the table that we can save a significant amount of money if we can be prepared to sign a contract quickly, which would be, well, they were saying the end of this month, right?
Yes, sir.
I think the chief believes that there's a little flexibility in that, but there is basically what's pending before you tonight is whether or not the council is comfortable with giving a formal authorization to the city manager to proceed with executing this contract, short of you knowing the final exact number that we expect to execute. And that's because that number is still a little bit of flux. What we can say with confidence is that it will be less than the $6 million that we have predicated on the budget.
Yes, sir.
Correct, so Chief?
Yes, sir.
Maybe you should say that on the record.
It will be less than $6 million.
Thank you. But that this basically boils down to what council's comfort feeling is. When I say significant, there's a fairly significant number for us. They're claiming that if we can get the contract signed right away, that we can save. Now, what I would say on the debt side, we talked before about, I guess I'd anticipated this being something that we would have the final exact number of what the radio system would cost, and then council would be able to talk about the issue about, well, what exactly does the final tax rating increase have to be funded, and those kind of things. But But part of the trick with that is even if we knew the final number on the cost of the radio tonight, that still doesn't completely incorporate what issuance costs and what have you would be related to the debt issue itself. So what we're saying is we can still have that conversation. We won't give them when they need the money. Bill's guessing September, October when we have to issue.
We were first looking to bring the bond ordinance to you in July. We think we can slide back a little bit with that. So you will be getting a bond ordinance and appropriation ordinance. That will give us the ability to start bond issuance. We could have it done as quickly as late September, 1st of October. But it looks like with the estimated cash flows, we may have pushed that back a month or two, which leads into more of a problem with myself and the financial advisor. Really don't like selling bonds in December. So we're probably looking at a late October versus November just because of the fluctuations are up there.
So my point being, we're not talking about a long time passing. We had this authorization to sign the contract by the end of the month, and shortly after, obviously, we'd be ready to have a full report about the true number next month. And then we would be coming back in August with probably with the debt, no later than August, with the debt conversation. And then we could be very finite at that point about what does the tax rate increase have to be to fund the exact project. So, of course, the other alternative would be to try to, I suppose we could have a special meeting at some point and whip it together, right? But we thought we would just offer this opportunity to, if you're fine with trusting us to proceed appropriately, and we will, and we can report that number back to you as quickly as possible. But the other side of it is if you really want to know the exact final number before you authorize the contract, then it may take kind of a last-minute quick meeting, or we may miss this opportunity to save this money.
I would say Henrico County did authorize their manager to sign it. I talked to you about that this morning. They did allow them to sign it.
Is there anything else?
Part of the process, just all part of the process. Yes, sir.
Anything else I missed?
No, I think that's it. Chip is probably not going to talk about the amount of time he spent the last month in terms of conditions with all the attorneys. So, again, it's all part of the process. We're really close, but we need this authorization tonight.
Chip, did I get anything wrong, or you got that basically, anything else?
Yes, sure.
If we authorize this, and we're talking about sliding the bond issuance back, authorizing you to enter into a contract, is there going to need to be any upfront money that's got to come out of city coffers before the bond issue is actually issued, or signing this can still wait for the bond to come?
I think, Bill, can you speak? It's really, we're anticipating true need money is December, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's why we have a little bit of time to do that. So, it's not as quick as we thought originally to negotiate.
And the only thing I would throw, Mr. Mayor, is that since we've already approved the budget with the proposed 6%, I'm not opposed to lowering the tax rate back if we can save the money. But we also had $15 million in school capital projects. We only funded $5.5 million. If we've already got that, that was going to save more than $500,000 to $1 million. If we saved that much, to follow that money into some of those school projects, because even the $15 million is still cheaper than a new school, and our schools can certainly use the renovations if we have the money to do it. So I hope council would consider that option as well.
Thank you, Mr. Green.
Mr. Mayor, if I could, on this, I don't see any advantage to delaying, very simply because Motorola is not going to adjust their price. Whatever price they give the chief is the price. So it's just a matter, frankly, it doesn't matter whether you give the manager authorization tonight or later on. He's got to sign for what Motorola says they're going to agree to. This isn't something where you're going to deal a nickel and dime saying, no, we want 5.5 million as opposed to 5.67 million. So I really don't, from a legal perspective, don't see any reason in delaying this. The two decisions are really a little bit separate as to giving the manager to sign for up to $6 million and then decision whether or not to roll back the